Folks, he's back. He's been enjoying a well-deserved vacation, but we are going to talk about small businesses, SBA financing with the one and only, the concierge of SBA financing, Bo Eckstein. How you doing, Bo?
I'm doing well. Just got back from Mexico. Got a little bit of a tan. It was an amazing trip, and very fortunate to be able to take vacations.
Yeah.
And also, when you go to other countries, you realize how fortunate we are to live in the United States. And I'll give you a perfect example. It was one night I was on Fifth Avenue in Playa del Carmen. They have all these nightlife and restaurants, and there's this 7-year-old guy, and he could barely walk, and he's got like a burrito wrapped in aluminum foil, and he's trying to sell them, and he's not, he looked depressed, and I just looked at him. I actually ended up buying a burrito, not because I wanted the burrito, but here's a guy that has to sell burritos at 9 o'clock at night because he has no income and like no opportunities. So we are really blessed to live in the United States, people, and like we have way more opportunities than most countries out there. And I think we sometimes need to remember how we should be grateful for things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's talk about what's going on in the small business arena. I think Cody Sanchez does a great job of sparking interest. Mr. Wonderful was out the last couple of days talking about the pain coming to small business. Let me kind of lay out what I'm seeing. And then, as always, where there is great pain, there's great opportunity. So I think over the last 6 to 9 months, we have seen regional and commercial banks pull back, not only from real estate, but also small business. I have been on record talking about the biggest of the big are going to get bigger and everybody else is going to suffer, whether you're a builder, a bank, whatever it is, right? In the environment we are in, if you can't go get raise public debt, it's tough if you rely on a small and regional bank. And that actually is the opportunity. And I think why you, as the concierge to small business loans, is kind of in a good spot, because I think there's going to be a lot of mom and pop businesses with track records, with documented history and tax returns are like, I just don't want to do this again. It's too hard. They're not operationalized or efficient with technology, perhaps. And I think there's a lot of folks out there that are going to use this time to buy some small businesses. So what do you see out there?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Lending is tightening. Okay, the only lending that's not tightening is loans that are partially guaranteed by the federal government, which are SBA loans. So SBA loans are booming, they're thriving, they're changing guidelines. So if you're able to qualify for SBA financing, meaning you don't write off everything and your financials look solid and you're buying businesses that are solid, then SBA is a great option. But yeah, I think there's definitely pain coming, because a lot of the old time business owners, they haven't done anything with their business, right? It's like buying the dilapidated house.
Exactly.
The landlord's burnt out. They want to be done with it. They don't mind leaving meat on the bone because they just don't want it anymore. They're ready to retire and go to Mexico. So yes, yeah. And the fear of the economy, right? People are scared. People are worried. So now is an opportune time, not only to buy real estate, right? Because you can find deals now, and not everybody's looking at real estate, nor can they afford to buy them. So the same thing with businesses. It is ripe. There's so many boomers that are retiring that just, what are they going to do? They're going to close down their business and get no money. No, they're going to sell it to you and then probably carry most of the paper, or at least 30-40%. So
that's the key.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because again, what I see going forward, it's amazing what I see: small business loans, SBA, and Fannie and Freddie debt for owner occupied homes. You brought it up earlier. What part of the cycle is working? It's stuff that is backed by the government. Why is Fannie and Freddie debt still working? Because they're under conservatorship. If they were standalone entities, it would be a different story, but they're not standalone. They are under conservatorship. Why is SBA financing work? Because it's backed by the government. This is the time. Because again, what do you want to do as an owner of assets? As a purveyor, if you're building your portfolio, like I heard Warren Buffett one time talk about Berkshire Hathaway, it's a big painting that he hopes to never be done with, right? He's always adding and tweaking things to his portfolio, his painting. Folks, it's time to get aggressive. Go find, boring businesses, go find businesses with track record. A lot of these, it's just like a home, right? There's a landlord's owned it 30 years, that's free and clear, it's been depreciated to zero, hasn't raised rents in a decade. They're tired, they're out. They don't want to do the heavy lift. Small business hasn't really used all of their systems and applications out there, has it automated invoicing, doesn't use texting, doesn't do any of this stuff. Go get it. I think again, it's really hard for me as somebody who sees pain, and I think it's going to run some people over because they're not prepared. But where there's great pain, there's great opportunity. And I think in the small business arena, there is a great pain, but also just tremendous opportunity.
Oh, totally. Because it's so fragmented. It's not like there's an MLS for like there is for
Exactly.
real estate. And so a lot of these people don't want people to know they're selling their businesses. So it's like perfect. If you're somebody who can go out and make relationships and go direct to seller, this is such an opportune time because really business brokers only sell 10 to 12% of the businesses that are out there. So many
Wow.
deals are getting done by going to financial planners. Hey, my name is Bo. I'm looking for businesses in this. This is my buy box. The same thing that
Yeah.
Zuber teaches us to do. We do the same thing for businesses, and that's the thing. The thing that's more challenging is that people don't understand how to define a buy box for a business versus like real estate. I think you break it down in a way that people get it. I always tell people. I was talking to this guy, and he's, oh, I want to buy all these multifamily. I'm like, you know what? The best thing you could do is go get this book, One Rent All the Time. You don't own anything. Go buy
Yeah.
one house, understand the
Exactly.
process, understand the pain points, and then talk to me, right? Like it's
It's
that
funny you bring
simple.
that. It's funny you brought that up. Anna Kelly, who is she's a part of 3,000 plus units, and she says the same thing. She's like, I get all these people that come to me because of all these different things I'm doing, and I'm like, go buy a house, go buy a duplex, go become a landlord first, and make sure it feels right before you dump serious capital into an illiquid asset with variable rate debt that could be a problem, right? So it's funny that you brought that up as well. But as the concierge to small business loans, I think I just read somewhere, and completely could be wrong, but SBA is really going after kind of a smaller loan amount potentially. Is that true?
Yeah, they're making a huge push. They want to the initiative is to help small business owners, and they want to help the demographic that's going to be buying businesses or starting businesses under 500,000. So the guidelines
Mm,
for loans under 500,000 are loosened up. It's a quicker underwriting process. They're opening up the licensing, so there's going to be more lenders that can lend. It's not going to be thousands, but there'll be more lenders that will be able to lend these small balance SBA 7A loans and the SBA Express loans. So it's an opportune time to get financed. There's a push, there's initiatives for it. They the beautiful thing about the United States is that we have programs like this, all right? Like
mhm.
I'm going to go get 90% financing, which includes
Wow.
working capital, the purchase price, all the things to fix up the business. I only need to come in with 10%. 10%,
Yeah.
50 grand on a $500,000 deal, right? And that $50,000 doesn't even have to come from me. It can come from Zuber, who's my partner. He owns 10% of the business. There's never been
Exactly.
a bigger time. But I also think too is the other big thing is listen, you're not going to magically go buy a business and it's going to magically run itself. There's work that needs to be done, and we have a saying on One Rental at a Time, right? Do the work, right? Do the work. It's the same thing. Nothing changes if you listen to the One Rental at a Time strategy. It's the same thing except a little bit different because it's a business.
Yeah.
The difference between buying a rental property is that a business has more moving parts. The hardest part about rental properties is the beginning, and maybe you have to do some fix up and tenant, right? But
Mhm.
after that, you have a property manager. It's pretty darn passive. Where a
Yep.
business is a business, you can have an executive model where there's a general manager and things like that, but you still have to work on the business. You have to have those skill sets.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know what? We're going to make that video number two. We're going to paint the picture of a busy professional and talk about what might someone buy if time is the problem. I think that'd be very interesting. But before we do that, Bo, there's a lot of people that want to get in the game. Cody Sanchez is really lighting it on fire out there, and I think it's wonderful that people are starting to look at this as a way to get wealthy. Again, getting wealthy is 3 steps: create dry powder, become a lead at something, and then do it for 10 years, folks. That's the way to get wealthy. Maybe it's a small business, maybe it's property, but if it is a small business, use the concierge of small business loans. Bo, how do they reach out?
BoEckstein.biz. That's like a website. So go to BoEckstein.biz, click on One Rental at a Time, and schedule a call. We'll meet over Zoom.
There you go. Thanks, buddy.